I'm just going to leave it kind of open for you.
Okay.
Because you have got your finger on the pulse of college football and everything that is going on.
Are you blaming me for everything that's going on?
I'm asking you your opinion of where the industry's in good shape, right? The business of college football is in good shape.
Right.
But what about the structure of college football? Do you like where we're headed? What do you think?
Well, I will give you my vision of what I think should ultimately happen.
Okay.
Now, it's not going to happen, but
okay, that's fine. I say a lot of things that I think should happen.
I would take all of the Olympic sports and I would place them in their respective NGBs for competition. So I'd have USA Gymnastics take gymnastics, USA Swimming take swimming, USA Rifle take rifle, USA Diving, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then I would put a commissioner of college baseball, women's basketball, college men's basketball, and college football. And I would have a board in each of those sports comprised of 2 presidents, 2 ADs, 2 coaches, 2 players, and 2 commissioners. And that board would support that organization, that commissioner of that sport, to think about that sport 24/7 and regulate that sport and make sure that sport was successful. I am not a big believer in committees. I think that's one of the fallacies of the NCAA, and I think that's partly why we're in the situation we're in of chaos. And I've been a benefactor of, college athletics, and my personal philosophy of life is God's gift to you is life, and your present to him is maximizing the God-given talents he's blessed you with. And so when things don't get maximized, it drives me nuts and I go crazy. And so I don't think we're maximizing the potential of college athletics right now. I don't see, I see us getting away from the mission of college athletics and turning into a professionalized sport, which concerns me because at the end of the day, we should be all about giving kids an opportunity for a scholarship, getting him a free education, getting him a degree, and getting him a job or her a job. And I think we've missed that because everything is focused on the professional level. And 98% of these kids, whether it's tennis or basketball or baseball or football or swimming or diving, whatever, they're not going to play professional sports.
Right.
And so our job is to take young people and get them a degree and give them the opportunity to get a job. So these collectives shouldn't exist for pay for play. They should exist to give, if they're alumni of the schools, they should give these kids jobs once they graduate, because everybody's going to have to pick up a lunch pail at some point. And so that's what I think the universities should do. They should be incubators for getting these kids jobs and making them productive people in our society as they move forward in their life.
Gary Stokan with the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. I'm going to talk about the kickoff games, but so we didn't even really talk so much about football and what that's doing to everything, because football is really what's driving the widespread professionalism.
Right.
And could we solve this simply by separating football from the rest? And I understand
I think that would help.
The issues with basketball, and baseball, right? But if we separated football acted as its own entity, and we can, pretend that it doesn't matter that Stanford and Boston College are in the same league, or that Southern Cal and Rutgers are in the same league, but let them just be, NFL light, and have all of the other sports resume being intercollegiate athletics. There's obviously going to be a connection. Would that help solve our problems?
I don't think it would solve the problems. I think it helps. Yeah, it helps. But I think we've got to, there's so many things going on right now. Obviously, you need Congress to step in. There needs to be some legislation that's nationwide because we have so many state laws. I just read where, I think it was New Jersey, put in a law, maybe it was North Carolina even, put in a law that you cannot negatively impact anybody who has a personal NIL deal, or they don't have to go through the Deloitte CSC process.
Right.
You can't have that. You know, if you're going to be a nationalized sport, you need nationalized rules, and we can't have state by state having separate rules. It affects recruiting. It affects the day-to-day. So, yeah, it's, you know, you got the 8-9 games. You got the CFP playoff, what's it going to look like? You've got Congress and the antitrust. You've got the transfer portal. We've got so many things going on that I don't think you can serve the constituency, which is the student athlete, with committees.
Right.
I think you need professional people focused on, I mean, the NFL, you know, they have people 24/7 thinking about what's in the best interest of professional football. We need the same thing in sport, in the various sports that we have. But the underlying structure of it all needs to be educational and getting kids degrees. And I'm reading where 25% of the kids that are transferring more than once are not getting their degrees now. That's not good. That's not our mission. You know, our mission is not to be professional sports. Our mission is to be college athletics. And there's so many great things that happen out of college athletics and development of student athletes. But we need to focus on that. And we have so many other things going on that, you know, is taking us away from that.
All right, let's talk about the two games you got to kick us off.
Got two great ACC, SEC matchups.
Outstanding. Syracuse won 10 games last year.
Yeah.
I've joked, I'm not sure why they're playing Tennessee, but maybe Syracuse is like legitimately good, because I'm on this mission of the ACC should schedule smarter, not necessarily harder. But Syracuse did win 10, and Tennessee's, I would say, in transition.
But even to that now, the ACC has gone to paying more money to schools that get higher viewership in games. So you
Syracuse
have that dichotomy going on, right?
Everybody's going to be watching that.
Syracuse and Tennessee. And watch this. Our Clemson-Georgia game last year in the Aflac Kickoff game was ranked in the top 10 of viewed games all the way through week 10 of college football. Because the first week of the season, people are starving to watch college football because they haven't seen it in so long.
Right.
And so these Aflac Kickoff games and the other, you know, you got Clemson, LSU, you got Miami, Notre Dame, you got Ohio State, Texas. These games are going to be the most viewed games all the way through the season. And so I've had coaches come up to me this week and say, Gary, I got to get in your Aflac Kickoff game because this viewership payout now is real.
That's right.
So, you know, that's an interesting situation going on as well.
All right, who's going to be rooting in the Beamer household, in the Frank Beamer household? Who's going to be rooting for who in Beamer Bowl? Virginia Tech, South Carolina.
You know, I had dinner with Frank and Cheryl Beamer and Jim Grobe and Holly Grobe 2 weeks ago at our lake house up in Lake Oconee.
Nice,
and
nice
Cheryl,
name dropping.
Cheryl Beamer was scolding me.
Really?
For scheduling the Beamer Bowl. And she said, Gary, what are you doing to me? But she'll be rooting for Shane, obviously. But she said, you know, Garnet and Maroon are somewhat close in color, so, you know, that's not bad. But we're going to honor Frank Beamer and Cheryl Beamer before the game, and then Frank is going to do the invocation because Frank he's won our Chick-fil-A kickoff game when it was Chick-fil-A, now Aflac kickoff game. He's won our Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl game.
Yeah.
He's won our Peach Bowl Challenge golf tournament with Del Curry when we first got started. And he's won the Dodd Trophy, which we manage and operate as well for Coach of the Year. So Frank Beamer has been inextricably tied to us all throughout his career. And you couldn't find a classier, better coach than Frank Beamer. And I look at Shane through his first 4 years, and I can say the same thing about Shane and what he's done in overachieving at South Carolina. And, you know, they won, 10 games last year as well.
He is a very good coach. They are always prepared. I made a list of games that the ACC has to win in week 1. I don't put this as a you must win it because I don't know where Virginia Tech is on their
They got Jones
comeback.
and Watson back, which is good.
Yes.
Anytime you can have your quarterback coming back, that helps with another year of maturity.
But the Carolina TCU, UNC's got to win that. The Georgia Tech game at Colorado, they got to win that.
Yeah.
There's certain games
Those are
that they
good points,
must
yeah.
win. I don't know if Miami Notre Dame is a must win, but
It would certainly help.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, you know this as somebody watches and follows college football, the perception of your league
No doubt about it.
is made in weeks 1 and 2.
You can
maybe
schedule
3.
these games, but you got to win them. And at the end of the day, these are games that you can schedule
Right.
out of conference because your conference schedule, you don't do the scheduling of that, and you're playing it within your conference.
Mm-hmm.
So you make your mark by playing outside the conference. And these games, what we've learned through the history of 18 years of putting on these Aflac Kickoff games is the CFP selection committee looks at these games as differentiation points because you're playing outside your conference. Who did you play? Where'd you play them? And how did you do? And so these are games that are very, very important in, figuring out who's going to make the playoff. And you got South Carolina and Virginia Tech. A Virginia Tech win propels them because South Carolina's going to be ranked top 15.
Mm-hmm.
A potential Heisman Trophy candidate with Nora Sellers. You got Tennessee, who made the playoffs last year, is going to be ranked top 20. The quarterback situation changed it a little bit.
Well, we know the quarterback from App State. He was very good.
Yeah, and so he's back there at Tennessee with, a very good team with him. So, if Syracuse can get over the hump on that game, it's going to change the perspective, like you say, of the ACC and football.
Right, and then it makes those games, the games that, like Miami played Syracuse at the end. We'll close on this because I have not figured out for the life of me why this is the debate. Why we had the debate between Indiana and Alabama for the last, wasn't the last spot, but for a spot in the playoff.
Right.
And why that debate wasn't Indiana and Miami, whose only 2 losses were to a Georgia team or Georgia Tech team that should have beaten Georgia, and Syracuse, who won 10 games. Those were Miami's 2 losses.
No, that's a great
Why
point.
wasn't that the debate? And they crushed Florida at the start of the season. For the life of me.
And they had the best quarterback in the country on their team. Right.
Other than that, why? But nationally speaking, it was never mentioned.
And
ever.
I think, unfortunately, Miami going 9-0 and then losing 3 of the last 4.
Right.
I think, or
2 of the last
3.
2 of the last 3.
Say that hurt them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that hurt them.
But how didn't? Never mind.
Yeah.
Gary Stokan from the. And is there anything else that we need to bring up that I forgot?
No, I just our Aflac Kickoff game is played during the Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And so we have a kickoff for a cause. We work with Aflac where we'll raise over $500,000 to put back into the Aflac Cancer and Blood Disorder Center in Atlanta that they paid $140 million to create this to help kids. We've put $23 million into the Aflac Cancer and Blood Disorder Center from the Peach Bowl to create trials to find cures to eradicate childhood cancer. We now have 14 trials in 5 different hospitals in 4 different states. From neuroblastoma to leukemia, we're trying to find a cure to eradicate some childhood cancer to give kid another month, another year, or maybe another lifetime to live. And so we're using college football for the greater good. We've donated $23 million, as I said, to this. We'll raise another $500,000 for those trials. But in total, we've given $68 million to charity since our beginning, and that's made us the most charitable bowl organization in the country. So along with making Atlanta the capital of college football by having the College Football Hall of Fame, moving it there and putting $13 million into that, creating the Aflac Kickoff game. Now in the CFP, we'll host the semifinal this year in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, and we hosted the quarterfinal last year with Arizona State, Texas in the double overtime game. And we hosted the national championship in Atlanta as well. So basically in a calendar year, we've hosted all 3 major events of the CFP in Atlanta. And so, we're using college football for the greater good and happy to do it and pleased. And great to be involved with the ACC, the SEC, the Big 12, and the Big 10 and doing that.
Thank you so much for sitting down. I appreciate it.
Thanks
You're a good man.
for always having me. I appreciate it. Say hi to all my friends in Raleigh and
You got it.
all the Wolfpackers.
That is Gary Stokan from the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl and the Aflac Kickoff game here at ACC Football Kickoff.